Hello and welcome to the Glock first part whatever. This is the next episode of Frog Manual. In the previous episode we already converted the VFC and there are two more manuals to record on the WE and the TM. Like explained in Check My Rec video, the conversion is common for all three manufacturers. So VFC, WE and TM uses the exact same conversion, and depending on the type of Glock, because there are tons, right, there are different lengths of the magazine available. So now we will look into what's in the conversion for this particular Glock that we will be converting right now, but which one to choose, the WE or the TM? Let the frog decide. Okay, so the frog chose the WE. Then let's put aside the other two. And with Glocks it's not so easy because there are like tons of models of the Glocks, right? So the content of the conversion will be a bit different depending on which type of the Glock you have. I said the conversion is the same, but the type of the Glock, for example, Glock 19 will have shorter pistol grip, so the magazine has to be shorter and the hose coming out from the conversion also has to be shorter. Then, for example, for the model 17, which I converted in the VFC brand, but the same conversion, hose length and magazine would go also for WE. Regarding the hose length, you can order the conversion just with longer hose that you can cut to the size. This is, let's say, one option. Or you can choose a variant with a pre-cut assembled already hose to the type of Glock you have. The conversion itself doesn't have a valve and top gasket. We will need to replace them from the original magazine. We will do it in a second. And the other parts are two steel pins. There is this piece of black rope and the speed loader with a spare main wheel. And always all pistol conversions come with three magazines. So here I show only one to save the space on the screen. For Glock 17 it has 14 rounds. This is the new type matte magazine, very nice pistol mag. Of course, again, if this would be Glock 17 from WE, the magazine would be bigger, right? So depending on the type. There is also one more thing I forgot to put in here, which is the drill plate. I will explain during the assembly how you use it and what actually it does. Okay, so let's start off with the process. It will be very similar to the VFC, but anyway I decided to record all three manufacturers separately. Maybe you are not interested in WE if you own VFC or the other way around. So we take our pistol and we start off with conversion preparation. So here we have two steps to follow. First of all, we need to remove the main valve from the magazine and screw it into the conversion. However, you must make sure that the magazine is empty when you are removing the valve. So I'm pressing it with my finger because I know that it's empty, but if you want to release the gas, just shoot it out or press it with some tool because it can burn you if it expels too much gas if you press the button to release it. Then we take the tool. Valve comes out pretty quickly. Okay, nothing special about this part. Make sure all three seals are in place. So one here, second next to it, and this is the third one. Sometimes they can stay inside, and then we need to drop it into the conversion. And the best practice is to rotate it a little counterclockwise so that you feel that the threads match, and then basically screw it in all the way. Make sure it sits nice and tight. And now the top seal. Regarding the seal, WE has a flat nozzle, yeah, so you see the seal is flat. In both the VFC and the TM, the seal top surface is rounded like in this one, right? So depending on the conversion you need to use a different type of seal. However, the original seal from the WE fits one-to-one to the conversion, so it's not included in the set. You just need to replace it. In order to do it, we need to push out the pin here. Okay, then we can take off feeding lips and they came off with the seal, so let's extract this. Okay, and there goes our seal. So the rest, the feeding lips, pin and the magazine, they are not necessary. Regarding the seal, what does it mean to you is that if you want to, for example, buy the seal and the valve separately to be able to sell the complete magazine, the original magazine, you must really buy the proper WE one with the flat top, because Marui has a different standard and it will cause issues. And now we can take out from the conversion the cap part. It fits quite tightly, so just pull it out, put the seal in. There is only one way to do it. Okay, make sure that the seal goes completely through. It should be elevated like this and practically flat on the bottom. It fits nicely, as you see. And now, again, it's quite tight, but I need to push it in to the conversion into the place. Make sure that the holes here will align with the holes on the plastic cap, and then we will squeeze in those pins in those two positions. So from up close you can see that the holes are aligned, they are like see-through, and the plastic part is flat with the aluminium part. And now the pins, the order doesn't make a difference, and you can punch them in or just squeeze them in. I prefer to squeeze them if I don't need to punch. Okay, so the first one's in and the second one goes in the same method. And after this operation, the conversion is ready for mounting into the pistol. We will be doing the modification only to the frame. So the first step obviously will be to take off the slide. We need to pull on these levers here, both of them, both sides down, and the slide will come out. And we will need to disassemble this rear part here. For this there is a screw here in the corner, so we remove the screw. I see it was secured with some kind of glue. And then we need to remove the pin from the rear here. Let's put them aside. Now I can lift up this part and it should be possible to pull it out. However, there will be the firing pin retainer with its spring coming out, so make sure you won't lose them. And you need to release it from this lever on the rear here, and we are done. So the frame can go to the side. And now we will have to also disassemble this part because we will be basically putting here the indicator marking where the holes for the assembly I should drill. And then when I do it, I will need to, from the rear side, make countersink so that the heads of the attachment screws hide in it. Yeah, so for this I need to take out everything from this part. Later I will also show you how to reassemble it. Yeah, but taking out is pretty simple. There is just one pin here, so goes out, and the second pin here, and it also goes out, and then the valve knocker will fall out. Okay, so pretty simple. These internal parts we can put aside. Okay, I wiped off the grease so that the debris would not stick. And now for the drilling. Basically the idea is you need to put this plate here, and the height where the holes should be will be indicated by these two openings. You can like directly drill through or pinch it as a marking and then drill through. The important thing is that when you put this plate here, you need to slide it so that it touches to this edge. Yeah, there is this elevated portion. Maybe actually I'll add something also on this side, maybe it would be just a tiny bit easier. But generally there is this split line in the middle, and the holes should be on that split line. So if you align it properly, you will see that the split line is in the middle of the holes. And I'm gonna pinch it and then I'm gonna drill through. Okay, pretty simple. One pinching mark is here on this kind of like injection gate left over. I'm not sure what this is, and the second one is above it. And now I will drill through. So what will go through these holes are these 2.5 screws that are on the rear of the conversion. So what you need to do is the 2.5 diameter hole. I will go first with 2 millimeters, because if I go badly, you know, if something's wrong, I can still try to fix it to go to 2.5 millimeters, and this will be, you know, a little like safety to do it correctly. Okay, so I'll be back in a second with my 2 millimeter hole. 2 millimeters done. Now I go for 2.5. Okay, and it's done. You need to clear off the debris, obviously, and now we will switch to the rear side, where we will use a bigger drill, and we need to go like make this countersink shape. So make like a conical shape, so that the head of the screw, let me show it, so that the head of the screw would hide in it. Yeah, I took it out from the rear of the conversion. Okay, so let's do it right now. So you see how the screws fit there. Yeah, the heads are hidden. I already removed the debris and any excess of the material pushed out, so there are some scratches, but this is, let's say, not a problem. Now I can use these screws to attach the conversion. And here the conversion is attached. You can put some glue on the screws, like, you know, thread locker, because of course it will be a potential issue that it can unscrew itself. Yeah, so be sure to thread lock them. Now we will put back the mechanism for the hammer into the chassis, and I took it apart completely to show you how it should be done, in case, you know, some parts fall out when you disassemble it and it's a bit different status than I have, right? So we will start off with the hammer, and we need to take this roller and insert it. You can insert it only on the one side. On the other side there is like a rib here that will prevent you from doing this. And then you have the spring here that should go like that. So it has 2 tips, a short one here and a long one here. It should be, let's say, facing down with the short one and go on the same side as the roller. So this is how you prepare the hammer for insertion. And to block it, we will be using a pin that has this wider head at the end. Yeah, the second one is constant diameter. So we will take now this chassis like this, and here there is a scratch of the place where this spring retention is created. So we will need to insert it in such a way that the spring is supported here. So this orientation, and the spring goes over that ledge. Okay, you see it came out here, and now I need to push it in enough so that I can catch it with this pin. Okay, and it should be retained. Okay, so it stays. I intentionally just barely caught the hammer because the same pin is used for the retention of the valve knocker. So now I will squeeze the valve knocker under the hammer like this, in this orientation. Yeah? So it will go like this. And to make it possible, you need to push the hammer back again, like I did. And now, if you use enough force and align everything properly, the pin will catch everything and it can come out on the other side. Just position the parts, and it should be doable by, like, with your fingers. Yeah, no hammers, anything. Okay, so this part is done. And now this part. So this lever will go in the back like this. However, it has a spring that rides on the same pin. So this spring with this straight tip will be pushing here on this ledge, right, like this. So I can put the arm first, and I need to make sure it goes in here nicely. Catch it with the second pin. Okay. And after I do it, I put the spring, everything's black, so probably hard to see, but I put it such a way that this tip of the spring, like I said, goes over that ledge on the arm, and the pin should go in pretty easily. So you see it just slide in. And now what is left is I need to connect this hooked shape of the spring with the bottom of the valve knocker, but you see it's not really accessible, it's deep there. So there is a trick. If you push the hammer completely down and you squeeze in a screwdriver here, all will be blocked, and the valve knocker will come out just enough so that you can hook the spring in, and that's it. Now the last part, and here be careful because it jumps out obviously, is this spring that comes here and the lever, okay, like this, and be careful because, as I said, it jumps out. When I have this assembly ready and I'm retaining the side part with my fingers, I will now slide it into the pistol. However, here it will be a bit more tricky than it was in the VFC, because you need to really wiggle it strongly in like this, so that this arm goes into the recession here and allows for this assembly. So watch me do it. Alright, and now put it here. Okay, I did it. And now the rear screw. And I advise you also use some glue to secure it, just like they did originally. And the last part here will be the pin. Okay, and done. So being here, there is last thing that we would need to do is to attach the line with this piece of rope. But before I do it, I like to check the functionality just to make sure everything's fine. So charge the pistol, you can actually leave it with the slide back. This means that the valve knocker moved back and the valve is not pushed in. If the valve would be pushed in, then there would go directly into the cylinder and the gun would shoot. Yeah, this is something what you don't want. So lock the slide to the rear, connect the pressure, and you can listen for some hissing and so on if everything's okay. If there is no hissing or anything, let's take some shots. Obviously the gun is empty. Has nice functionality, everything works. I can do last quick confirmation with the mag. Okay, so all is good. So now I can attach the hose. Idea is that I will do a double loop like this to hold it in place, and it has to pull the hose to the back so that it doesn't interfere with the operation using the magazine and so on. And some of these Glocks have some, you know, lanyard attachments and so on somewhere, or some places where you can put the line through. This doesn't, so I like the way it was done on VFC, that there was a lanyard attachment here right beneath this gripping surface, and I'm gonna drill the same to this Glock. In your case, if you are assembling a different Glock than 19, maybe you actually have some feature to attach it to. So I'm gonna attach it, you will see how it looks like, what I did, and you will figure out the way for yourself. And here's my hole. It's kind of under the hand. This will be just a piece of rope running along, so nobody will be able to feel it, honestly. Okay, now I take the super glue, and as I said, I take one loop, okay, I put it through. So this is first loop, and now going over like this, I will tie it into a knot here on the side, maybe you see, and the target is to really pull this hose to the back. So this is a special trick how I do it. Let's put it flat, okay, let's hold this prepared for tying off a knot, yeah, okay. So if I have this prepared, now I push it to the rear and I tie this like that, maybe even in an excess, and then I put glue on the line because it will like catch immediately almost, okay, and it caught. Now I can finalize the knot, okay, and again secure it with the glue, and that's it. Of course you need to tie the knot on this spring part, not on the hose itself, because it will break, yeah? So if you are having the long hose and you are cutting it to the length, remember that the proper length is in such a way that the line rests on the spring, the protection spring, not on the bare hose. And now just cut off the excesses of these. And there you go. You have your pistol from WE on HPA. Let's shoot it some more. And that's it for today's Frog manual. Glockfest continues. TM is the only one left, so we will do it in the next episode. I hope you liked it. Conversions are available. If you have questions, ask. And always remember to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Do not miss the upcoming videos. And for now, may the power of GBB Glock from WE be with you.